Okay, hey guys, welcome back. If you're ever sat down to post something for your business and then you didn't, this conversation is going to be for you. Please stay tuned. Listen to what we're going to talk about because you need this for your business. You know that you need to be visible. You know people need to hear what you do, but instead you're overthinking it. You're second guessing it, or maybe you're just staying silent altogether. I actually made a post like this week. I wasn't even planning on doing. Did you see it? But
I was going to bring it up.
It was so crazy. I was just talking to a business owner that did not want to share about their business. I'm like, this is the one thing that we should be all talking about. And I made a post, go check it online, and I was curious about the responses for people. Most of the responses, I was like, yes, like we have the right community. I have the right community in my feed. Some responses, I was like, oh, that's interesting. But something that is clear for us here in this room is that we do need to talk about our businesses. Otherwise, how are people going to know about what we do? And at Skill with Stability, we see this all the time. There's incredible business owners with real value that are just continuing to stay hidden, and not because they're unqualified, but I think it's because they're unsure on how to show up without feeling maybe fake or pushy or just out of alignment with their values. And the reality is that at Skill Stability, we believe that you can grow a business that honors your faith, that honors your family, your health, and your peace. But part of that stewardship is actually using your voice. And that's what we want to make sure that we accomplish in the session. Because if you stay invisible, your business doesn't just stall. People who need your help are going to actually miss out. And that is the biggest calling that we all have. So that's why I think this conversation is so important. And today I'm joined by Kyle Draper and Justin Winstead, co-founders of Higher Culture Virtual Assistants. I'm really excited to see how you guys are mixing this combination of topics, with what you're doing. Justin, you're a leadership coach and author helping faith-driven entrepreneurs align vision with action. And Kyle, you're the CEO and media marketing strategies, actually helping business owners show up consistently without burning out. Your session, you're going to co-lead it, which that's something I'm curious on your tips, because JC and I, we have tried to do sessions together, and man, like we are like, it's never as we think it's going to be. But your session is called Magnify Your Message. Tell me guys, like, how do you get to two different backgrounds? How do you get to where you're at today? And why was this the topic that you felt you needed to bring to Skill with Stability?
Justin, can I quickly tell the story of where this all started?
Go for it.
So, because especially in a faith-based room, I think this makes even more sense. But Karen, so Justin and I met probably close to 10 years ago now, and we were both, he was in insurance, I was in marketing. We both connected. We both realized quickly we were former student pastors. And so we shared all the pain and trauma that comes with leading youth. And so we quickly scheduled a lunch. And the lunch day came, and at the last minute I messaged him and was like, hey bro, I'm so sorry I can't make it. And I bailed on him. And then we rescheduled. And then I bailed on him again. And I think I bailed on him 3 times. And then I get a message on LinkedIn from Justin saying, dude, you claim to be a believer. Like you were a pastor. You're not really letting your yes be yes right now. And Karen, if I'm being totally honest, for like 5 minutes, I was so angry. I was like, who is this guy? Who does he think he is? And then I walked past a mirror and I had to look in it, and I went, oh, but he's not wrong. And I looked back, and I was doing that to a lot of people. And so Justin changed the way that I was showing up for people. And then for years, we were just friends. And then I had started a marketing company, and we felt like the marketing company wasn't going to last, but we had VAs in that company. And so Justin ended up coming into the company. We pivoted it from marketing to remote staffing, and the rest is history.
Actually, the rest is future. We are just beginning. The rest is future. No, it was a fun thing. And just so everybody knows, I don't typically do that with people. I did feel in my spirit it was okay. The scripture says speak truth in love. I don't know how loving it came across on LinkedIn, but that was my heart, behind it. But
we're here together. So there was enough.
But I think it's a neat little thing that where it brings us where we are today, because my real motive in that moment was to pick a lane. And if you're going to say you're a believer in business, then let your things act like that. And if you don't want to keep these appointments, fine, but don't continue to tout that message. And that's really what our workshop, and I think this event is about, is, man, the world needs faith-driven leaders to stand up and lead well and do business well. And we all know the stories of the guy who gives us the business card with the Jesus fish on it. And it's almost like, I probably don't want to do business with that. And we want to change that. So that's what we're here trying to do.
I was just going to bring up later today that we should put a little ick-loose fish under our logo. So I guess we won't. So.
I guess you're not. You know, that was something that we were challenged by in hosting this event, you know, because we do set it very upfront. This is a faith-driven, you know, business owner, like, get together, you know, let's learn, let's all focus on that. But it is a faith-driven, and because of that, you know, because I think, like, for us, for JC and myself, you know, it has always been, let's walk the walk, you know, and people will ask us. I think, like, that was one of the first things that I learned from John Maxwell, who we're going to have at the event. I remember him saying, you know, like, my business is, I'm a leadership coach, you know, I'm a leadership expert, and I want to do it so well. I want to love people so well. I want to teach how to lead people so well that they have to ask me. They just have to ask me why I believe what I believe, like, why am I the way that I am? And so, like, it was a little bit of a challenge, but I think allowing ourselves to call this, it's allowing us to have an opportunity to have, you know, create an environment where people feel in a way found. And I'm excited. I think, like, what you're talking about at the event, you know, of, like, showing up as your true self, right? Like, just leveraging the different platforms that we have available today is a need that we have, so that we can help business owners grow in general. It doesn't matter if you're faith or whatever, but through that, I think through what you're going to be sharing, maybe there's an opportunity for them to say, like, okay, that roofer is a little bit different than this other roofer, you know, like, what he's talking about, the way that he's acting, the way that he's leading his team, the way that he's, like, showing himself in social media, it's a little bit different. So let's talk about the session that you are both going to lead. I'm curious on my first question is actually, what do you think so many business owners are struggling to consistently show up and share their message? Because that is a big thing that I still see today happening.
Justin, you go first.
Yeah, the thing that comes to my mind first is that some people really just, they don't know their message. And so they haven't done enough soul searching to go, what is the thing that God's really called me to? What's my reason for being on the planet? What's my assignment during this season? And so we're so busy just trying to make a buck sometimes that we're not even, the message isn't in our heart. And so I think not having a message or not being clear on it is the first reason. And then the second big one, I think, is the ones who do have a message, but they don't share it. Of course, there's distractions and there's just prioritizing. But a lot of times, and Kyle can really speak to this, it's one of the things he does great when he speaks across the country, is about insecurity and just the fear that kind of goes along with it. And so I'll kind of toss it over to Kyle. He may want to add on to that part.
Yeah, I think that's a big part. And I'd kind of like to keep most of the insecurity part for our session. So stay tuned, because, Karen, what I also think the issue is we've taken social media and we've made it all about analytics. We've made it all about numbers. We tout the people that are in the millions of followers, and we have all these people that are swearing that they'll coach you how to go viral. And then we have all these business people that I would say we're just normal people. Like, I have no desire to be famous. I have no desire to go viral. Like, I want to love and serve the people God has positioned me to love and serve. And so I think we have this whole business world that goes, oh, I did this video. I poured my heart out. 8 people saw it. What a loser. And so then you delete it, because I've done it before. And what I've just found over the years is that social media, magnifying your message, is about knowing the right people, not the most people. And when we understand that mindset, and I go, well, what's better? That you did a video and 12 people saw it, but one of those became a new client, or you did a video and 100,000 people saw it, but your phone never rang, your email never filled up, your DMs never came in. And we're still stuck in a place where I think people want to brag about the 100,000 views instead of, I actually grew my business last week because I did a post that not very many people saw, but the right person saw it. And that's a big piece of, I think, what we're going to talk about in our breakout is realizing that you already know more people than you're currently successful. And so we've got to project the voice, not necessarily grow it. Yeah. And gosh, we get really excited about teaching this stuff.
I think it's such a needed thing. And I love the fact that you started with the calling first, because I so agree with that. I went through, you know, even as a business owner, I think you can start with a calling. I mean, you guys were pastors, you know, so obviously that, like, not saying that, you know, the calling to like help people has changed, but the way that you do it, you know, the way that you attack it, I think it can shift. And so understanding why you're here on this earth, I think such a needed thing. I'm curious if something has helped you guys or sparked that opportunity to have that clarity on like what your purpose is. For me, when I went through a time in my life where like we started our business out of a need. We were 7 months pregnant. We needed to like make money to like pay for the delivery. It was like you make it or break it type of, you know, that's like right. The baby's going to come either way. So we are either going to struggle or what. I think that's probably the best motivation that you can have. That said, once we're not in survival mode anymore as business owners, we can get complacent. And that's, I think, a dangerous zone that we can find where like, now I don't know what to do. Now I'm lost. For me, I think like there's this book called Purpose Driven Life. I don't know if you have read it. It's a very tiny book, but it's just like really impactful. And it helped me to redirect and redefine my calling. What has helped you guys in your life?
Yeah, well, I could speak on the purpose part because that is something I'm super passionate about. And in my book, Become an Improver, we have a whole chapter dedicated towards the idea of discovering your purpose. And in there, I think this is really relevant for our faith-driven audience, but I distinguish between two different types of purpose. And I say you have a natural purpose and then you have a divine purpose. And your natural purpose is a purpose that you can find out of necessity, out of using anything that the world has to offer with skills assessments, with market needs. You can find a great purpose there. And I say that natural purpose leads you to profit. So you can make money and you can create margins. You can do that. But then we juxtapose that against the phrase divine purpose. And that's your God-given purpose. And that one doesn't just lead to profit, it leads to peace. And so sometimes we start out in our first stage, it's like, I just need to make money. I need to make a profit. That's our natural purpose. And we can find meaning in that. But the real depth in our faith is when we can actually say, well, what's the divine calling in this? And that leads to peace over that. So walking through the process there, and some of that is what we're going to do in the workshop, because in order to live out your purpose, you have to have self-discipline, but you can't have great self-discipline without great self-awareness. So we're going to roll out a tool that we think helps people create self-awareness in the perspective of what is your God-given voice? What is the voice that you actually need to step up and speak with? Because, you know, some of us are more nurturing, some are more connecting, some are more pioneering. And so we're going to help people identify that voice, get confidence around it, and then they can step in it and begin to use it more.
I love it. I think that's going to be so helpful. And the fact that I think business owners can step away of their day-to-day because there's so much noise, there's so many things happening, that honestly asking yourself the question, why am I doing what I'm doing? In that chaos, it's almost impossible to find, you know, like the answer. I think you do have to like obviously pray about it, you know, like have that kind of like time by yourself, but also put yourself in environments that are asking you and where you can like even through the response that they're going to give you guys, they can say, do I actually believe what I'm saying? Or am I just saying it because that sounds nice to say? Okay, that's going to be really cool. I have many more questions on the session. I wanted to give an opportunity for people that, you know, maybe they're thinking about coming to the event and they're not sure, to still learn about hire culture. So tell me what you guys are doing with hire culture.
You want me to take it?
Take it away.
So Karen, to give you a little backstory, we started using VAs in our marketing company, and the amount of VAs grew and grew and grew. And then we looked up and we're like, gosh, with what AI is doing, I don't want to be fighting against AI in this marketing world. And God bless all the people who still choose to. But we looked up and we're like, we're really good at leading VAs. Like none of our VAs leave. We don't have to fire any of them. Like they're understanding their purpose. They're like the stories that were coming out of the Philippines, which is where all of our VAs are, were just incredible. And so we looked up and went, why are we not helping other people do this? Because we know none of us are perfect entrepreneurs. For most of us, we're really good, if we're being honest, at one thing. And then we just hope to not suck at a bunch of other things. And then that's the world of entrepreneurship. And so when we realized we are the answer, because we have men and women that are unbelievably gifted and talented, that have this calling on their life, just like we do, and then we compare them with an American business, we see some really cool things happen. And so for us, it's been business, it's been ministry, getting to love and serve people on the other side of the globe. Here recently, we've decided to move towards the faith-driven team, because we, just like us, like we lie in bed going, man, God, am I doing enough? You've put this calling on my life. Am I doing enough with what you've given me to steward? And we are so excited about serving those teams, filling those teams, loving on and mentoring those teams to see what God can do. And that's what we love doing at Higher Culture.
I love that.
Yeah. And so the thing I would add into that is our real heartbeat at Higher Culture. Yes, we got here by way of a marketing agency, then using VAs and then matching VAs. But the real thing that is something that Kyle and I see us spending the rest of our lives doing is building teams, building faith-driven teams. And so in addition to provide remote staffing and remote professionals, we also do consulting and training. And we were really zeroing in on this idea of just culture in your workplace, especially in remote and global workplaces. There are tons of leadership materials in the world, as we know, but 95% or more of those are based on the idea that you're in the same building as the people you're working with.
Yeah.
And there's very little support out in the world on, well, how do I deal with remote staff? How do I deal with someone halfway across the globe that speaks a different language, has a different culture? And so we really see that for the next many years, we're going to be able to serve faith-driven leaders and teams in this space. And it's such an amazing kingdom picture in what we can do through Higher Culture by helping people. For instance, we're planning right now and already started getting clients signing up for our trip to the Philippines, where they're going to join us to meet their VAs in person. And we actually see this as sort of a mission trip, not just a business trip. And so we think that's amazing. But then combine that with the fact that for every 5 full-time equivalent VAs we match, we give a nonprofit charity ministry a VA that they can use to help them grow the work that they're called to. So we just think all these really unique parts have come together to allow us to build this incredible company to challenge and lift up faith-driven teams.
I love it. That's so exciting, guys.
Your answer was so much better than mine. You should have just spoke first.
You complement each other. You know, I think it's so cool that we get to do business, but we also get to, you know, hopefully like showcase through our actions, you know, what it is to be a Christian, because it really is about love. Obviously, there's like different gifts that we all have, and love is the component that makes this gift, you know, actually function in this world, which I'm really excited. I'm actually gonna like share a little bit more on that on my session. So I think everything that you guys are saying is so aligned with what we have going on. Now, going into your topic, right? Going back into, because obviously you're applying all the things that you have, or the things that you have applied in the business, you're teaching it, you're sharing with people, you're helping navigate, you know, a lot of that complexity when it comes to like sharing your message. I'm curious of like, what is the cost of staying invisible in today's business landscape? Because I think, you know, just like in any session, like you have 2 paths to pick, you know, as a business owner. You can choose to do the hard things, or you can choose to go the other way. If you choose to go the other way, you know, because doing content is not, although it's a lot easier now with AI, you know, there's a process there that you have to navigate. You know, you have to like sort of be intentional about it. What is the cost that business owners will pay if they continue to remain invisible?
Yeah. Well, one thing I want to add in, and this is just for sake of a lot of clarity too on our session and this conversation, we keep leaning towards social media, and then we talk, maybe we've used the word content a few times, but just so everyone knows, the Magnify Your Message workshop is not just about your online communication and following. This is about you stepping up and using your voice with the people you lead, with those in your community, those in your personal networks. And so whether we're talking about online or offline, it's really difficult to have margin and create more time and money in your business if people don't know you exist and you don't have influence. So ultimately, there's this whole discussion on, oh, everyone's in sales. No, not everyone's in sales. But the truth is, when I hear that, I always go to influence. And if you don't step up and use your voice, you don't have influence. And if you're not influenced, you're not leading, you're not selling, you're not growing, you're not pushing the ball forward. So for us, the core of this message is, do you have influence? And it's not just about the quantity of that, like Kyle was saying with the number, but it's about the quality of that. And is it the right type of influence with the right type of people? So
and Karen, there's data out there that says that the average adult sees 5,000 brands a day. When we think about the grocery store aisles, the billboards, the ads we see on social media every day. And so the scariest thing to me is that as a business, I'm supposed to be one of those 5,000 brands. And so every day that I choose to not partake, not only am I not growing, but I'm also robbing myself of winning with all the people that have already raised their hand and at some point in my life said, Kyle, I trust you. And so I think we just assume, gosh, like Karen and I went to high school together. And so if she really wanted what we do, like she would tell me. And the reality is that you have kids, you have a husband, y'all take trips, you'll get pulled over by a cop and you'll cry and it'll be really bad. And maybe there was an inkling of like, man, I need to reach out to Kyle, but something got in the way. And so if I don't show up and create those pattern interruptions, I'm never going to win to the level that I'm capable of. And this environment, the social media environment, which is what I love, it's the only free environment. I don't have to spend any money to post something. Mm-hmm. And so it just blows my mind. That's why I was going to bring up your post, because I saw your post and I was like, why? Why do so many business owners, like, why are you even in business if you're not passionate enough about it to want to go tell people about it? And so it's mind-blowing to me.
You know, I've been doing a lot of speaking and marketing for Hispanic contractors specifically. And that audience, you know, it's so crazy to me, like, especially roofers, you know, like they're like, it's one of the highest risks, you know, like jobs right now in the US, right? Going on roofs and like doing all that stuff. Like they go, like they're under like the worst weather, you know, like the sun and like doing all these things. And they still don't ask for, you know, like if they did a really good job, right? Like if you like, man, like I did a really good job, they still wouldn't ask for the review. They still wouldn't ask, you know, they still wouldn't share about what they're doing, yet they're expecting to grow. Everybody wants to grow, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to like accomplish great things. And I feel a lot of people are like thinking that it's going to just like, they're going to like just find themselves into success. You know, they're just going to go into that. And it takes work. It takes like first the intention of saying, and I love that you are using this not only on the offline world, right? Like the fact that you should be talking about it. You should be going to your Chamber of Commerce. And I'm sure that you guys have strategies that you're going to share at the event to help people navigate that. But that free stage that you were talking about, the fact that, you know, like nobody like, and especially how the algorithm works, you know, like one post that you make about it, it's not even enough. Like I remember doing this test that you guys have done of like posting 10 times a day. And like, I literally like did it for 30 days, trying to see how many of my friends, you know, really saw every single post. Only a small percentage saw even one post. So like you can actually not post enough. I'm curious as we're preparing for the event, you know, that breakout session, I can tell just from what you guys are sharing that it's going to be pretty engaging. They're going to be like, it's going to be a workshop. They're going to work with you guys on a lot of these things. So it's not like receiving content, is really getting things done, which I love. That's the purpose of this breakout sessions. Who is this breakout session for? If you could say, hey, if you're in this, like if this is your identity, if this is where you're at, this is a room for you. Can you tell me more about that, Kyle?
I'm actually going to defer to Justin.
Okay.
He's the smarter of the two of us.
So part of our niche, we talked about earlier, is faith-driven teams. So obviously, people who are going to be there are going to fit that category. But then we also kind of cheesily in-house, we say we really love those who are ball caps and blue jean type business leaders. So you mentioned those home services people. I would say if you're one of those people who you get out and you wear ball caps in your job, or you do hard work with your hands. If you love Mike Rowe, if he's one of the people you respect, you're going to fit in there as well. We have those in manufacturing that are in there, and then a lot of real estate connected industries also really relate to what we do: real estate, insurance service. So if you're trying to grow teams, in those areas, and then even pastors or ministry leaders would be welcome as well. I think those who it might not fit as much could be helpful to know.
Yeah, that'd be great.
If you're in a really highly litigious and high risk area for liability, like medical professionals who have to, deal a lot with like HIPAA compliance and all these other things, like a lot of the work that we do is, Kyle and I try to be more practical, and we don't like being, letter of the law. We want to just do what's real. So if you are in that, this may not fit you as much, because we're not going to be super like you need to overthink it and you need to have 7 levels of bureaucracy. So if you're in a governmental type institution, you may not like this as much either, because this is about you getting out of your way, not overthinking the message, but getting your convictions and then stepping up to the megaphone and letting people know about it. But we would also say, scaling wise, if you're getting started and you're in that 100 to 500,000 range, like is what's being advertised on our workshop, I think you can get a lot out of this as well. But I would say really for those that are $1 million and up in revenue, you're really growing a team and you're starting to feel those demands of, I've got too many things going on and I know my message. I'm not afraid of getting my message out, but it feels like too big of a load for me right now. I don't know where to find the time. Plus, the landscape is changing with AI and the algorithm and everything, and I can't keep updated with my trade, with my people, and with all this marketing thing. So we are going to have some wisdom and advice to share with you in that as well.
I love it.
Karen, I would add one thing. If this device causes you more insecurity than it does confidence, you want to be in our session. Yeah. Because as faith-driven business owners, we should have such a desire to be out in front of people, not for our own selfish gain, but because if I'm not in front of people, I can't serve people. Yeah. This should be our greatest teammate, not adversary. And what I've watched for over a decade is, somebody can say something incredible, and then I can turn my camera on and go, okay, say that again. They're like, and like they don't even know how to talk in English anymore.
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable. And so I know there will be so many people at the event that they're so good behind their desk and they're so good at a coffee table, but they're not good on this device. And it's costing them revenue, influence, opportunity. And so all of that is going to get unpacked in our session.
Love it. Yeah. If you could see or have, your attendees accomplish one thing after they attend your session and they go into the real world, what would that be, guys?
For me, it would be their message being clearer, and then the confidence and the next step identified to step up to some microphone. And that may be a camera through a one-to-one video. It might be launching the webinar they've been wanting to do. It may be just creating a social media strategy, but it would be, I know this is my voice and this is my message, and I need to share that with those, that God has put me in their network, in their circle. That would be the thing that I desire. What do you think, Kyle?
Yeah, well, I was gonna say we've kind of developed our breakout. It's 90 minutes, and so we've kind of developed it in 3 30-minute parts. Because if you don't understand your voice, well, we don't want to magnify crap. And so for somebody, they might love the camera, but every time they're on it, we're like, what are you doing? No, you're hurting your brand. Like what? And so you really need to understand your voice. For the other person, they understand their voice, but they need to magnify their message. And then the final piece in our breakout is like, are you even doing a great job of magnifying your message like inside of your own client journey?
Yeah.
So that you're keeping people engaged the entire time and developing people that want to refer you business and see you win. And so I think that there will be 3 really defined ways that somebody could go, this was my favorite session of the entire thing. And we can't wait to meet the people that'll be in our room.
That's amazing, guys. I think, like I was sharing, like I've been through this process, like not once, but like I think like 3 times at least in the last 8 years. So if you're a business owner watching this and you say, oh, I've been in business for a while, like there are always ways where we're innovating in our business, where we're changing as leaders, where our company, our culture, the people that we're serving is changing. And we need to constantly revisit that to make sure that we are as clear as possible and that we're targeting the right people to share the right message with them. So I think this session definitely applies. If whether you're starting or you're like, have been in business for a while, I'm really looking forward to seeing the impact that you guys can make out of the session. And especially the fact that you guys are going to help them not only understand, but apply that in real time. Like that's where you really get the ROI on events, right? Like besides having obviously a connection and continuing to, go deeper into this type of topics with you guys. Thank you both so much for taking the time, because I know like traveling to Cersei, like being there for like almost a week, it's a lot of work, putting this stuff together. You guys are working before, the session, and I'm prayerful that we were just at the speaker little get together that we had virtually. I'm really prayerful that, like just everybody is impacted, in whatever way God needs them to be impacted in the business, so we can leave this conference, leave the summit with more energy, more excitement, to do God's work, but also that we enjoy what we're doing. I think that's the biggest blessing that we can have as business owners, to actually enjoy what we're doing. So thank you both for taking the time. And if you're watching this and you haven't gotten your tickets, I don't know what you're waiting for. Go to skilletstability.com/summit. Get it, be there with us. This is going to be a great room, great just crowd and community that you get to connect with, aligned with values and with the purpose of growth. So yeah, we hope to see you there. Thank you guys. I appreciate you both.
Thanks for having us.